If Ari Gold believed in his clients,
Yeah.
then he would do anything for them. I remember being on the red carpet, and they asked me so many weird questions back in the day, by the way. But one of them asked me, if you represented Tom Cruise, what if Ari Gold represented Tom Cruise? What would you do with him right now? And it was at the time when he had some eccentric moments. He was jumping on couches and cackling and having some moments, right? And I remember at the time saying, if Ari Gold represented Tom Cruise, he would chain himself to the desk for that guy. He's as prolific as anyone in the game. He's an earner. He works his ass off. So he would have his back every step of the way. This was at the Emmys, and I remember winning one of the three.
Which time, Jeremy?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. You were just like, I knew he was going to fucking get that story in.
Oh, here, I'll tell a story that paints Jeremy in a good light. You were saying that, when I showed up to work, that I whatever, seemed comfortable, willing to work, not overawed by the occasion. My first day of work was a Friday, but my big scene with the boys was going to be shot the following Monday. And what happened in between, Jeremy Piven was nominated for a Golden Globe. It was the first time you were nominated for a Golden Globe for Entourage. So this is after season 1. You've been nominated. You're going to the Golden Globes. And so they just said, please come to work on Friday. You're not going to talk. It's just going to be, Jeremy's going to be in his office, but the walls are all glass, and we're going to see you when the camera's looking that way. So you have to sit there. And, it was a ploy on their part to make me feel more comfortable. I worked, but I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, what I did do was I sat in a very fancy ergonomic chair, and I was so nervous that I tensed every muscle in my body all day. I hurt myself. I threw out my back sitting in an ergonomic chair. Yeah.
I don't even know how that's possible.
I don't either. So that's Friday. Saturday, I'm just in bed, in pain, wanting to die. And then Golden Globes the next day, and then the next day I work, and somehow miraculously I was better by Monday. But anyway, anytime someone asks me about the beginning of my job there, I always think, hey, how was that weekend that, Jeremy was nominated for Golden Globe. So I always think of you when I think of that story.
Well, actually, it is kind of brilliant because, when people ask me as young actors, what can I do? My whole thing is that it's all about gaining as much experience as possible. And you don't even realize, even you being on that set, being there, getting a sense of it so that you're not thrown into the deep end from the jump. So you show up on Monday, and you have a reference for it. Okay. I did 40 movies before we even did Entourage, and I would take a day's work with Morgan Freeman just to be around him, watch him, get a sense of his work ethic, how he navigates the set, whatever. Take short films. Take your ego out of the equation. I don't know if you know this, but when they came to me with Entourage, my character was not, it was what they called a fringe player. He was not one of the
I knew that. Yeah.
Not one of the main players. And they, we negotiated I didn't have a full contract, because it was the rest of the guys that were the main focus of the show. So, because they didn't see it as, one of the leads. And at the time I was lucky enough to have some, a bunch of options. And I could see that, first of all, this is a world that people are fascinated by. Everyone wants to know about the backstage life of Hollywood, And so I knew that the demand would be there, and if we got it right, we could be onto something. And I knew Mark and I knew Ari Emmanuel, and I knew the characters that it was based on, and I thought, if we get this right, it could be something amazing. So I basically took an 80 to close to 90% pay cut to do Entourage, and my agents were like, "What?" At the time, they're like, "You have an offer over at NBC to be the lead and producer and blah 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 of your own show," and I just remember saying, "Look at the quality of shows that HBO is putting out." At the time, it was Sex and the City, Sopranos. So you're surrounded by these incredible shows, and knowing that it's HBO and you have the freedom with the language, and that if we get it right, we could really be onto something. And I also knew that character from having him be my agent was a fascinating character, living in all these amazing dualities, and you couldn't, he's constantly will surprise you. And I was like, if I can even get this remotely right, we'll be onto something. And so when people ask me, what do I do? First thing you do is put your ego aside. No matter where you think you are, well, I should be doing the lead. Well, there's some, why not take some lesser roles and really learn the game and get better at your craft? Because you will, like we talked about earlier, you're gonna get a shot, but you just want to really be ready. And I thank you for taking the leap of faith, because you didn't know what I was going to ask you today. You were a little scared. You were a little scared. Be honest.
Yeah, no. For sure I was scared. I mean, and not because of you. I've just had some weird experiences with interviews. Like, Look, here's like there are some seriously bad interviews I've done, but here's one that's not that bad that I will tell you about. I was once in Boston, and a journalist asked me questions about Entourage. And I said the words, "I feel like I was destined to play Lloyd." When it finally appeared in print, it said Rexley felt desperate to play Lloyd. And I thought to myself, that's not what I said. Maybe it's true, but it's not what I said.
That's amazing.
So I was like, and she recorded the interview. So I'm like,
right.
Is it really that garbled on the recording? Do I need to enunciate? What the hell? So it was weird. I tell this story on different occasions for different purposes. It taught me something about the press and how sometimes they just don't get it right, even when they mean to. And sometimes they're not careful. I grew up taking English classes, and people said, when the press puts something in quotes, it's because the person really said it. I can't tell you how many times I've seen quotes that I've supposedly said that are just not what I said. I don't know. They're paraphrasing what I said maybe, but they're in quotes, stuff like that. So, I've had a few bad interviews.
Yeah, and this podcasts are so incredible because we get to just sit and have this conversation, and people get a sense of who we actually are. And I would never do you wrong. Jeremy Piven wouldn't. Ari would crush you, and then he would reverse the car and then roll over you again. No, I love and respect you, and it is good to see you, my friend.
It's good to see you. It's
yeah.
good to be seen.
And I'll see you. Let's see. Well, when we do the town fair, when we do the Entourage reunion tour, when we're in Des Moines, Iowa, doing a puppet show together.
I've never been to Iowa.
Let's get into it.
I've only been in love once, and this person did not love me back, but was from Iowa.
This is what I'm talking about. You can't get this anywhere else.
How You Live in J. Piven is a Cast original podcast in association with Common Enemy and Tenderfoot TV. Producer is Kyle Tequila. Theme song by Common. Executive producer for Cast is John Spack. Executive producers for Tenderfoot TV are Donald Albright and Payne Lindsay. Executive producers for Common Enemy are Jared Einson and Dave Osico. Catch all new episodes of How You Live in J. Piven every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts.